Hello, welcome back to Dave's Corner, where we're going to talk about what I read in November. I know this is a very late video, but I'm going to upload it anyways because I'm sure you guys are curious, and I'm just here to give you guys the content, okay? So, if I look down, I have my phone right here, which we're going to go off of, and we're just going to start from the bottom, and we're just going to work our way up. The first few books I mentioned are children's books. I don't rate children's books on Goodreads, as they're not the audience for me. I have a whole video. I'll link it down below. I'm going to keep trying to link them down below. It's from my other channel, and I might even try to repost it over here. And it's just talking about how I rate my books in case anybody is curious, because it can be kind of weird sometimes. But I have 1, 2, 3 children's books I read this month, and 2 of those I read for myself. 1 of those I read with my little sister. We finally finished it. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to tell you what those are. So I read the tale. They don't pop up on screen, because I'm just going to very briefly mention what they are, summarize them kinda, and then move on, because I don't rate them, and so I don't feel like they should pop up on the screen. The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Peter Rabbit is a bunny who likes to get into a lot of trouble. I read that. That's like one of the first books I read this month. I also read Do You Believe in Unicorns, which is a story about unicorns hiding in plain sight, and if you believe in them, maybe they'll come true, and maybe you can see them. Then Heart of Gold, it's Cuticorn #1. My little sister really liked this. She's 6 years old, and it's about dogs who become like they have like horns and they're magical or whatever. It's really well rated on Goodreads though, so be cautious if you're reading it to a young one. There's nothing bad in the story. I thought it was actually really intense and really cool and really like, anticipated and things like that. But still, it's just what it is. I just want to very quickly mention it right now. And then the last book we're going to talk about is the book that I DNF. I do own it, or it wouldn't go up on the screen either, but I just want to mention it. A few months ago, I read An Anonymous Girl by the same authors, and so I decided to pick up The Life Between Us by Gear Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This is about a girl, a woman who is recently divorced, and her husband is getting remarried to a younger, prettier version of herself, and there's a lot of twists and turns. It says I DNF'd at 50%. It was a hot minute ago, which I had to look. And I personally didn't really like it. I think the audiobook actually ended up hindering my experience, but I even tried to read it, because I had the actual copy, so I was like, okay, we'll try to read the actual copy, and I just couldn't get into it this way either. I have a hard time reading thrillers, physically, so I find that really interesting, but I can't seem to push myself through them, and, there's a few thrillers I wish, I'm really happy that I had an audiobook to do so. This is a book that I read through audio, and I did enjoy it, but, I DNF'd it. So I thought their first project, Anonymous Girl, or their second, I think this was their debut, so their second project was so much better, and I highly recommend that one. That's my personal favorite. I didn't finish this one. Maybe the twists and stuff towards the end are really good. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read The Life Between Us and you recommend I go back to it and push myself for the extra 50%. It was only like 3 or 4 hours left of the audiobook I needed to read, so it wasn't too bad. So let me know in the comments down below, as I was curious to see your guys' opinion about that. So now we're going to move on to just rating-wise, going from the lowest rating to the highest rating. The first one, my lowest rated story, other than a DNF, was Unwritten Law, which is the Steele Brothers. It is book 2. It's book 1. I gave 2 stars and 2.5 stars, it says. And then Eden Finley is the author of this novel. This is about a set of twin brothers who go and they, one brother breaks up with, okay, so one brother's gay, one brother's straight. The one gay brother had horrible things happen to him. I don't want to get any spoilers. And so he asks his twin brother to go break up with these guys that he doesn't see like dating with. He dates them for like a month, and then he kicks them out, kind of thing. Well, he goes to break off this date because this one guy reminds him of the traumatic past I don't want to tell you about. And the straight brother ends up actually being bisexual, and he figures out these tendencies, and he has sex under the pretense of him being his brother. Ander, I think is his brother's name, and a lot of people gave 4 stars. I'm really surprised. I found this very problematic because of the whole twin thing. And obviously, if you're trying to portray someone who you're related to, it's kind of weird anyways. And the way they brushed over it and things were very problematic. And so, yeah, I don't actually recommend this one. It was there for a reason. Also, I have to say, if you're looking for some pretty steamy sex scenes between 2 males, I might recommend it. It's not really long. It took me, I think I read it in a day, or maybe 2 days or so, and yeah, so I kinda, but also don't recommend it at all. Moving on to my 3-star reads, I had one this month, and that is Final Girls by Riley Sagar. So I went through a cake where I read all 3 Riley Sagar books in a correspondence, like a month and a half. And so Final Girls was the last one. I read it in backwards order and definitely hurt this because at this time it is a 3-star on Goodreads, but it's between a 3-star and a 2.75 star. This follows a woman, a girl who, a girl who well, it's about the final girl. So these 3 women are put through these traumatic events when they're a little younger, and they are labeled final girls by the media. Then it follows them when they're older, like 15 years later, something like that. And it's the repercussions, and somebody might be tracking them down and killing them. It's just not a thriller, is the problem here. Our main character, I didn't mind. Actually, I really like the development of PTSD and things, but honestly, a lot of that stuff is spoilery, which is probably why it's pushed into as a thriller. But I don't actually think this is a thriller. I personally think this is, I mean, towards the end it kind of gets thrillery, but overall I think it was a misstep in the thriller direction, which is really interesting because of the fact, because I read them backwards. He gets more and more thriller-like as he goes forward, and so maybe that was a common complaint. I actually really remembered Final Girls being pretty well received. It has a 3.81 on Goodreads, and like I said, I'm on the lower half of the 3-point scale, or with a maybe even 2.75, as the way this book was marketed, I think was marketed wrong. It's not a thriller, it is a developmental of the psyche and what happens when you have PTSD and what that can cause and certain things like that. There's also a lot of tangents and a lot of run-ons that I just did not like either. A lot of side plots here I thought felt very flat. And then also, by the end, the characters were so predictably annoying that it was almost unreadable. I only finished it because I was genuinely curious to figure out the mystery. And the mystery was there for 20% of the book, so it doesn't actually help. I think I have a vlog talking about my experience with this. And also, I might be doing a Riley Sagar wrap-up. Let me know in the comments down below if that's something you guys are interested in. That's part of the reason why I read all 3 of them, to rank and review them, and so that video will probably be coming. It might not be coming until next year, though. Okay, moving on to my 4 stars. So I had 2 4 stars. No, I had 3 4 stars, and then I have 1 5. Oh, 4 4 stars. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is The Blue Sky Feeling, volume number 1. This is about, by Okra. This is a manga. Tell me how to say it in the comments. And this follows 2 boys who are unlikely to fall in love, and they fall in love, and it's beautiful. And it's volume 1. I am planning on picking up the next few volumes that are out. I really, really do like it, and I do recommend it, especially if you're looking for that cutesy teen romance. There's a few more drama, a little hard, a little hard-hitting drama there, but nothing too extreme to the point where you're gonna be sad the whole time. I really liked it. I read it in one sitting. Alright, so the next one we're going to talk about is Blackbirds in the Reeds. This is the Ronan Harbor Cycle, number 1. This is Sam Burns. This is the first book that I was told was going to be super steamy. And preference, it is kind of steamy. I'm not going to tell you when, but it does happen. And it's pretty cool. I did enjoy it. I thought it was cute. The romance here is really strong. I really like the romance aspects of it, and the story itself was really engrossing. You're really curious to figure out everything that's going to happen. And I just really like paranormal stuff, and this was chock full of paranormal. Oh my god. And it was great. And I highly recommend this. This is great romance. Very much enjoyed, and probably enjoyed it a little too much because this is what I was looking for. This is probably much more like a 3-star, not a 4-star read, but my enjoyment made it a 4-star. So keep that in mind if you're going to pick it up. Next thing we're going to talk about is I have 2 stories from the same author that I read. I read them back to back, and that is Pretty Girls and then the prequel Red, White, nope, that's not rare, that's not true. Then we have Blonde Hair and Blue Eyes. Blonde Hair and Blue Eyes is the prequel to Pretty Girls. I highly recommend you actually read Pretty Girls first, and then Blonde Hair and Blue Eyes. So on Goodreads, it says I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, whereas it's actually a 4.5 to a 4.75 out of 5 stars. I had some problems with the middle. There's a few things in here that I just didn't really like, but overall, I would say this is a very well-paced, very structured, very well-done thriller. I do want to mention that everybody who keeps saying it's torture porn, I completely agree with. You don't really get to torture porn until the very end of the book, but when it gets there, it's very graphic, it's very hard to read, and it's another one of those books I would probably put down. I did put down a few times. I think Libby told me I put down 10 times. but I also read it a course of many months. I started this like 2 years ago, didn't really like it, read her other one, The Good Daughters, last month, enjoyed it, decided to pick up Pretty Girls, and I'm so happy. I think I enjoyed The Good Daughters more, but this one's a lot more intense, and there's a lot more different themes. This is about a wife who is witness to her husband's death, and then also her sister, who has to come back and to kind of take revenge on the family a little, and then also figure out some chaotic stuff that's going on with the husband. I don't want to give too much away here as the spoilers and stuff. I mean, I don't know exactly. I was told that that the synopsis gives away quite a bit, like all the way up to like 150 pages inside the novel. So I might not recommend reading the synopsis, but I would recommend going through and reading some of the reviews. I'm gonna throw some trigger warnings out there for you guys, as I think they're necessary. Abduction, that's a big part of this. Rape is also another big part of this. Mutilation, carnage, gore, torture, that type of thing. Degrading women, that's a big part of this. And yeah, and I think it's written beautifully, which is horrible to say. I hate to say that I really enjoyed this novel because of how disgusting it can get, but I think it's a necessary novel to read. Now, I'm going to continue holding this book up, even though it's a different book. The prequel, Blue Hair, or Blonde Hair, Blue Eyes, I think is what it is. Is that what it is? Yeah, Blonde Hair, Blue Eyes actually follows a character that is not technically a part of this novel, but is very much mentioned throughout, and it's about her, like, day of when something happens. But I highly recommend that if you don't think you can handle Pretty Girls, I would recommend you read Blonde Hair, Blue Eyes, and then look up spoilers, so you know what happens to that character as it's necessary. But I very, very much enjoyed the Blonde Hair, Blue Eyes. I think I might enjoyed it even better with Pretty Girls, and I even recommended Blonde Hair, Blue Eyes to my sister because I know she couldn't handle, actually, Karen Slaughter's way of writing. I am very, very excited, though, to get to other Karen Slaughters, which I'll mention in my TBR video. But my last book that I read was my favorite book of the month, and also possibly one of my favorite books of the year, and that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Casey McQuiston is a brand new author to me. I think this is her debut author, actually. And I go back and forth between authors writing gay fiction because they're not gay males, but I write under the female I, and I'm not a female. So I can't play too much, I can't be too mad about it, especially when they're written so well like this. Honestly, I've never related to a character so much in my life like I did relate. So let me explain this about. This is about the son of the President of the United States and then the Prince of Wales. And it's their mad in love story. It's a enemies to lover trope romance here, and it's beautiful and it's great. And it's not just focused on the romance. The romance here is particularly sublime, but the characters are so well developed, and then also the political intrigue and different things like that are so well done that I cannot preference this enough. This is a beautiful novel, and you need to read it. I do want to mention, though, it can get quite steamy. Like, wow. Some of those scenes can get kind of graphic, so if you're a little younger, maybe wait until you're a little bit older to pick it up, but I definitely think it should be on your radar for later on in life. I already put the Untitled book that's coming out in like 2 years for her is already on my TBR because I want to read that right now. Okay, this is how great this is, okay? Also, highly recommend the audiobook. The audiobook was so good. Like, so good. I cannot wait to actually read this physically, though. I think this is a book I'm going to enjoy both ways, but that's funny. But with this book in particular, I finished the audiobook, and I reread the whole audiobook again the next day. So I actually read it twice this month, which is really cool. And yeah, definitely by far one of my favorite books I've read this year. I have a few standouts. But without further ado, that's my TBR video. That's my wrap up for November. If you guys enjoyed this, I read a total of, hold on, did I tell you? Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books in the month of November. That's great. I'm very excited about that. I was real nervous. I was going to read like 1 or 2. And my TBR for this month is real hectic, and it's already day 9. So I'm not off to a good start. It's fine. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you all next time for another beautiful, lovely video. Thank you for watching.